How are you feeling today? Do you feel fulfilled in life? The show will begin in 4 minutes. Are you ready? When was the last time you felt betrayed? When was the last time you felt loved? The show will begin in 3 minutes. Are you ready? What did it feel like to be in love? What is the most painful part of being in love? The show will begin in 2 minutes. Are you ready? Are you ready to be transformed? Are you ready to make a change? The show will begin in 1 minute. I hope you're ready. The show will begin in exactly 30 seconds. Get ready. What if I told you that loving a man who doesn't love you back is a lot more common than you think? What if I also told you that could be you right now or in the near future if you don't truly understand what fake love looks like from a man? Now, if you want to understand, then join me on today's show where we'll be discussing 5 signs he's pretending to fall in love with you. That way, you don't end up only realizing his true feelings after it's already too late. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so I know you're here present and actively participating. How are all you beautiful, beautiful people doing here today on this show? So good to see you. So good to spend this time with you. Who we got over in the TikTok chat? I see we got Lenalik here. We got Sin here. We got Sexy Sadie here. We got Berna here. Teresa here. Adorable here. We have Zoe here, and of course we have our moderators, Scotty, Sharice, and SH here. I hope they're all here. I see Scotty at least. Welcome in the TikTok chat. Who we got over in the YouTube chat? We got Kayla is here, LP Baby is here, Trini Princess is here, Mary is here, Irina is here, Rhonda is here, Shadina is here, and of course we have some of our amazing channel members. Great Fortune Cookie, one of our amazing channel members. Ivy, one of our amazing channel members. Tracy Niles, who's always early and right on time, one of our amazing channel members. Welcome all you beautiful, beautiful people. So good to see you all here. Spend this nice Friday afternoon for me with you, but the weekend is coming, okay? Could be the last weekend of TikTok if you're living in the United States, but that's beside the point. Let's hop into our number 1 point here, okay? Now, I don't want this to scare you, but I do have to be honest with you because I do see this a lot in relationships and even when I help you all in giving you all advice on your situation, right? This can be a common thing, and I want it for you. What I want this to do for you is I want this show to be like something that makes it easier for you to spot men who are just faking it with you. And I want it to make it more obvious when you're going about your relationships, the guys who are really developing feelings for you and the guys who are trying to pretend as if they're developing feelings for you so that you can do something for them, okay? So let's hop into our first point here, okay? I'm gonna do a little bit of drawing, not too crazy, all right? And we'll start off like this. So you got the man here, and we're gonna have you here, and you have a huge head, massive head, okay? Lots of brain in there somewhere. And we'll draw your hair here as well. Your nice triangle body, and your thin legs, because you don't do legs a lot, all right? So the reason I say this, let me draw you some eyes so you have some life to you. Okay. I want to make a little bit of a point to you so that we can all be on the same page here. Because number 1 is the why. Now, what am I referring to when I say why? One of the mistakes that you'll make, or I shouldn't even call it a mistake, one of the easy ways to get bamboozled is when men will tell you how much they like you, right? And they're capable of making it seem like their love and their desire for you is so intense and so prevalent that they can never imagine having these strong of feelings for anyone else or anything else. And it can feel a lot like a fairy tale. But here's how I want you to be able to spot that when you're dating men. See, the reality of it is, you start to think to yourself that the way men are falling in love with you, right? The way they're falling in love with you is by seeing you visually. So they fall in love with your physical presence. The way you look, your yitties, your dump truck, right? We can draw you a nice little booty here as well, okay? I don't know, it's some sort of weird diaper. It's the BBL booty, okay? New era booty. And that's the thing. You might think to yourself, oh, he's falling in love with the way that I look and my appearance. I look like a princess. He wants to treat me well. All of these other things. But what's really happening, right? Is something even more special. See, when a man is truly falling in love with you, he's not falling in love with anything of the physical, because as time goes on, things will change. You're not going to look exactly the same as you did when you were 21. What ends up happening is he falls in love with these traits, right? The fact that you're kind, the fact that you're smart, the fact that you're giving, the fact that you're nurturing, your spirit, right? This is what he actually ends up falling in love with. All of these traits, these things that you can't actually see or touch, you just feel them in your heart. Now, I know this sounds really spiritual and things like that, but the reason I'm saying this is because since these are the traits that men actually fall in love with and not what's of the physical, then what you should do when you're actually gauging how much a guy really feels for you and how serious his feelings are for you is you should be understanding, does he actually recognize the qualities, intangible qualities, that he actually has fallen in love with? Because if he can recognize that and then communicate those qualities to me, then I can actually be sure that his love for me is real. On the other side of the spectrum, if a guy is unable to communicate any of the intangible qualities that he loves about you, then he doesn't actually love you. Like you, the person, you, the spirit, you, the soul. He might love what's on the exterior. He might love the way you look. He might love your BBL diaper booty, but he doesn't actually love you. Because the reality of it is there will always be another girl who's also pretty, who also has a BBL or a big dump truck or whatever the case may be. There will always be more youthful young girls who also look like supermodels, okay? No matter how good and amazing you look, there will always be a younger girl who also looks just as amazing. And the reason I'm saying that is because if that's what he's basing his love for you off of, that's not real love. Because as time goes on, all of that's going to fade, and so will his love and care for you. So what do I want you to do in order to actually identify in the men that you're dating whether or not this is the case or this is the case? This is the key question that I love for all of you to ask, and you can write this down if you've never heard this question before, okay? This question that I want you to ask men when you are spending a lot of time with them and they're telling you how much they love you, I want you to ask them, okay, since I hear you say all the time that you love me, you love me, you love me, that's great. Tell me though, what qualities and character traits, specifically and unique to me, do you love about me? And I want you, after you ask that question, you just sit back, relax, and you allow him to give you his answer. Don't prompt him. Don't give him examples. Don't try and help him out on the test or anything like that. You just say, I just want you to answer it as honestly as you can and as you feel necessary. Don't guide him in any particular direction. Nothing. Because what I want you to see for yourself when you ask this question, right? This is a very deep question. So this isn't something that you just ask casually when you guys are in bed watching Netflix, right? This is like when you're having a real deep heart-to-heart conversation. This is when you ask this question. Now, what I want you to be paying attention to when you ask this question is, what is his response? Is his response to you when you ask this question to say something like, oh, well, you know, I love that you're so beautiful, and I love that you're so voluptuous, and I love the way you look in a tight pair of jeans or a red dress. That's what I love it. And you start thinking to yourself, wait. I'm remembering back to what Tomisin told me to be paying attention to in his answers, and the fact that a man will be in love with your intangible qualities, not what's on the external. But everything you just mentioned to me about what you love, now you're not actually going to say that, but I want you analyzing this. Everything that you just mentioned to me about what you love about me is on the external. Anyone can wear a red dress. Anyone can be voluptuous. That's not necessarily unique to me, and that has nothing to do with my soul or my spirit. I know I'm making this sound very spiritual, but you have to think of love as a spiritual experience. And if you're not considering that love is a spiritual experience, then it won't make sense to you why I'm telling you to pay attention to this answer, okay? Because if he actually is truly falling in love with you or already is in love with you, then his answer will be all of these types of things, these intangible things about you and your soul and your spirit and the person that you are. Not only will he be able to give you this answer as it relates to your intangible qualities, he'll also be able to give you direct examples of times in which he's experienced that. So let me tell you the difference between, I just gave you an example of a bad answer. Now let me give you an example of a good answer, right? Let's say he says, you know what? I love the way that you take care of other people. Me included, yes, but also other people in general. Because you're so generous and nurturing that you lift people up and you know how to bring someone's spirit up. And I've seen that not only in our relationship, but I've also seen that in the way that you, go about your family life. And what you did for your sister last week. Remember when your sister was feeling really down and you went to her and you brought her this really special, birthday gift, even though her birthday was already over, because you knew how she was really sad about not being able to spend her birthday with her boyfriend, right? Guys who are actually falling for you, not only will they be able to give you this answer, right, with ease, but they'll also be able to give you examples of this answer with ease, because they're recognizing and observing you and analyzing you, and as they're analyzing you, they're observing the things that they love about you. I know it sounds very heebie-jeebie and very spiritual. It is, but I want to make you recognize that, because even though men might not be as emotionally intelligent as you may be, they're still capable of communicating the ways that they will fall in love with your character. And if he can't, it's most likely because he hasn't fallen in love with your character. He may have fallen in love with your exterior or the way that you look or the way that you suck him off, but he hasn't fallen in love with you, the person. But that's a problem, because that's not really how love works. Not in our world, okay? And the reason I say that is because I want you to be able to recognize that when you ask that question to men, okay? I've seen some of you asking, what was the question? The question was, when you're having a conversation with him in a heart-to-heart, you say, okay, I know you say you love me all the time, right? Assuming he's already said it. And then you ask, but tell me, what qualities or character traits, like specific and unique to me, do you love about me? And then you let him go. Some guys are like, what? I don't get it. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Like, you're just a vibe. Okay? If a guy answers, chat, class, students, souls. If a guy answers you that question and he says, I just like your vibe, just go ahead, pack your stuff up, take your clothes out of the closet. Okay? If you have any underwear, you have any toothbrush in the bathroom, pack everything up, okay? It's time for you to get the hell out of there. You're wasting a lot of your time, okay? You ask a question as deep as this and his answer is the vibes, you're wasting time. He's just playing you and he doesn't actually feel any real feelings for you, and you're gonna get played one way or another. Don't accept that as an answer. But what I also don't want you to do is I don't want you to try and prompt his answer. Because I know for some of you, when you're hearing me talk about this, you're like, oh, that actually does make a lot of sense. I'm going to rush home and ask my partner exactly this question to see what he answers. But the problem with that is when you want him to answer a particular way, you're going to try and prompt. Basically, I'm asking you a question because I want to see if you know the actual qualities and character traits, the ones intangible to me, like how smart and intelligent and kind and funny I am, and give me examples so that I can feel good about the fact that you actually love me. You might be inclined to prompt him because you want him to give you the right answer. But it's very important that if you ask this question and you have this conversation with him, once you ask the question, you sit back and relax and allow his mind to go where it goes. Because a man who is in love with you, his mind will go here, okay? A man who is not in love with you, his mind will start talking about vibes. He'll start talking about the way you look. He'll start talking about everything else that's not these types of things, okay? So pay very close attention to that. It's one of the biggest and easiest signs to spot, because trust me, I want to emphasize this. I know it's point number one, but honestly, it's probably one of our most important points of the day, because a man should be able to describe the things he loves about you in detail. I really hope you understand that. And sometimes I think, it's easy to forget or not pay attention to that because being in La La Land is very, very fun. When a guy just says, I love you over and over and over again, and he just says, you're so amazing over and over and over again, but you never actually get to the specific reasons he loves you or what he even finds so amazing about you, right? That is a time where it can easily become very confusing for you because you're under the impression that the love is real simply because he says it over and over and over again. But men who really, really love you will always be able to describe the reasons they love you in detail. It should not be like pulling teeth. And if it becomes like pulling teeth for you to get this answer out of him, or he seems to be stumped, that's a problem, okay? Because that's not, him trying to be mean to you. That truly means he has to really, really think about the reasons that he loves you, in which case, why is he here? Okay? So let's hop into our number 2 point. Okay? I'm going to mention something else to you. I won't lie to you. All of these are going to be upsetting. I'll just be super real with you. Because I'm sure in some way or another, all of you have experienced something like this before. So I'll be super real. It's going to be upsetting to hear some of these things, right? Because I see a lot of you saying that. Now, I want us to address the what. Now, there's a specific type of what I'm talking about, okay? So let's imagine here that this large circle is representing a good relationship. And let's imagine, I know some of you maybe are on the younger side, so you've never played this arcade game before. But let's imagine that this is a game of whack-a-mole, okay? And in whack-a-mole, you have all of these different circles. And an animal comes out of each one of these different circles, okay? Now, at any one time in a good relationship, you will always have different things that need to be addressed, okay? So whether it be, let's say at one time it's desire, right? Let's say at one time it's communication, I'll just put talk here, right? Let's say at another time it is romance. Let's say at another time it is being sadness, right? We'll just put sad. Or let's say at another time it's grief. Okay? So the reason I say this is that at each point, as you build a successful and hopefully sustainable relationship with a man, there will always be a new challenge ahead. Okay? I never want you to think about your relationships as if there's something where, oh, Tomisin's teaching me a couple of tips and tricks. I'm just going to use some of these tips and tricks for a couple of months, and then hopefully my relationship will be so good that I stop having to put any work or investment into it. Relationships and successful relationships don't work like that. You're putting investment into your relationship on an ongoing basis. And as things change, people change, things change around the both of you. There will be different focuses on your relationship at each period of your relationship. Now, why am I addressing this here? And why am I giving you the example of whack-a-mole? Because in whack-a-mole, at each different point in time, you're going to kind of whack each thing back down and take care of it whenever it pops up. And that's how you have a successful relationship, but in a more emotional sense. Each time one of these things pops back up. Someone said the spelling police. Which thing did I spell wrong? Which one? I think they're all spelled right. Correct? Okay. Anyways, now at each one of these points, right, you're going to be playing whack-a-mole, and you're going to be taking care of each one of these things. Oh, I spelled grief wrong? Oh, chat. The spell police got me. Okay, good? All right. So each one of these points, you're going to be whacking off each one of these challenges that are going to present themselves. Now, how does this relate to a way a man will pretend to love you? Okay? When he is pretending to love you, one thing you're going to notice, and this is where it's going to become painful for some of you because you're going to realize something. See, when men don't really love you, the process of working through problems like this, even if they're not necessarily problems in the relationship, just working through challenges, he will always feel like he has little to no energy to address challenges. Because his expectation when he really doesn't love you and he really finds it painful to invest in you is that the entire relationship should just be peace and should have no issues ever. And anytime something comes up, whether it be not your issue, just an issue in general, or a challenge that both of you must face, he is always constantly exhausted to the point where he has no energy to do anything that is challenging in the relationship. Not that you're even presenting to him purposely challenges because you want to make it interesting or anything like that. He just finds it painful to do anything that's not sit, shut up, not talk, and just be boring, okay? And not have any issues or not have any life problems and not talk or address anything. See, when men don't really love you and they're pretending to love you, addressing things becomes extraordinarily painful. Those of you that know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. When you have to pull teeth to address even minor issues or anything that's not just sucking and effing, okay? Or eating and sleeping, you have a problem on your hands. And that problem is your man probably doesn't love you how you think he does. Because what I want you to understand is when a man actually loves you, truthfully, he also wants to take your happiness into account. He cares about your happiness. He cares about how you feel. He cares about how things affect you. And when you communicate that you're upset, you're sad, things are making you feel away, you might be grieving, whatever the case may be, he actually has a desire to solve your problem. He has a desire to make things better. He wants, keyword wants, to address problems and challenges and issues in the relationship. Because he understands in addressing those things, right? It's like playing whack-a-mole. You can continue to have a good relationship when he continues to address those things. Of course, you're playing your own role as well. It's not just a one-sided street. But there has to be a desire, especially from your man who is meant to be leading, to address those issues. And they're never going to stop being a plethora of issues. Unfortunately, in life, it is a roller coaster. So there's never going to be a perfect point where there's never anything wrong. Okay? There's always going to be a new thing that rears its ugly head. And it doesn't always have to necessarily be a challenge in your relationship or you two fighting against each other. It can just be a challenge in general. But men who really don't love you or care about you, they're always exhausted to deal with any sort of challenge. Because in their mind, right, what they're looking for from you is just to continue extracting and not really be doing a lot of work here. So the idea of doing more work for you is very exhausting. That's how I want you to think about it, right? Challenges in a relationship are exhausting to men who find it painful to invest energy away from themselves. Okay? But when a man becomes in love with a woman, he doesn't have a problem investing energy away from himself and into his woman. The only men that find it painful are men who are only focused on themselves, their own happiness, and they don't really actually genuinely care about you or what's going on with you. Okay? I know when I'm breaking it down like this, for some of you, you're thinking to yourself, oh, that's so true. But I also was very much in this scenario. Okay? That's okay that you might be realizing that or might be in the scenario right now or have been in it. But it's good to recognize that because the honest truth is men don't operate like this, right? Unless they're actually invested in you. They're not willing to tick all these off and face those challenges. The men who really want to extract from you, those are the men that find this process very painful. Those are the men that are always talking about what's this, what's it now? What's the issue now? What's the problem now? Life is full of problems and issues. And a lack of desire to address those things definitely shows you how he really feels about you. Okay? I hope we're on the same page. Let's hop into our number 3 point. Okay? Wow. I put a lot of work in on my eraser. They always going bad on me. All right. So point number 3 here. We're going to be discussing something I think is really interesting. And it's harder to notice, but after this, hopefully it'll be easier to notice. Okay? We're going to split our board in two here because I want to kind of show you a little bit of a visual through this. So let's kind of start off with what it looks like for a man to be in love. We're going to draw here what we can describe as a thought bubble. You know how in the comic books they have thought bubbles? So what men who are thinking about you will be thinking in their thought bubble here on a consistent basis. They will be thinking, what does my woman need? Okay? And what am I referring to though when I say thoughts, right? And the fact that he's thinking about what does my woman need? See, what men are good at doing, more than they're good at, addressing things and talking about things and talking about their emotions and their feelings, they're good at taking action. Please, do not ever forget, okay? The way that you love as a woman and the way that men will love you as a man is two different types of love. It doesn't mean that the love is not real. I just want you to understand the way that men understand how to express love is different from you. Men are very, very, very good at expressing their love through action for you and taking action for you. You might not even get, all the words and expression through sentences and how he feels about you and writing you poems. And that man can be deeply in love with you and show you all of that love by the way he takes action for you. Tell me in the chat, have you ever seen, whether it be in a movie or seen it in real life, you know those old couples where it's like that old couple will be like, let's say they get up early in the morning and the old man who rarely ever talks and he rarely ever says anything super like romantic or anything like that, he'll always get up at 7 a.m. and he knows his wife gets up at 8 a.m. I'm just giving you a random example, but you can kind of build the idea or the image in your mind. And he'll get up at 7 a.m. He'll come downstairs. He'll make his wife a cup of coffee the exact way he knows that she likes it, because he knows when she wakes up at 8 a.m., the first thing she wants to do is drink coffee. So he makes it for her. That way it's ready every time she comes downstairs. And he does that steady every single day. Right? Are you picturing a type of couple like that in your mind, right? And the thing about it is, see, those men, even sometimes, they're not very good at saying all the time, oh, I love my wife so much. She's the best thing that ever happened to me. She's so amazing. I wouldn't know what I would do without her. But they're good at taking action for their woman. And even sometimes you might notice if you have any older grandparents, right? You might have a granddad that does that for you. He might not necessarily tell you all the time that he loves you, but every time he's always taking some small or little action for you to kind of show you his appreciation for you without you even necessarily having to ask for anything, right? And so a lot of men, they're good at that. They know how to connect their feelings to taking action for you, okay? Not all men are so good at expressing their feelings through talking about it and emotion. Right? But a lot of men know how to do this. Now, where does this come from though? And this is where I want you to take notice of this, right? I want you to take notice of this difference here. See, when a man doesn't really love you, his thoughts will be more like this. What do I need? All the time, especially when you're not around. Because the easiest thing to do when you're with someone, right, is only care about their needs or their thoughts or what's important to them when you're around them. The hardest thing to do, because it means you really care about the person and you're really becoming more selfless in your growth as a man, is to care about another woman even when she's not around. and to be thinking about her needs, what's important to her, and her happiness when she's not even presently with you, in a way that turns you into someone who is living to serve another human being. I know it sounds weird when I'm saying service, right? But I don't mean service as in worshiping your feet or kissing your feet. I mean service as in, hey, as a husband, as a leader, the man of the family, I want to figure out how I can continue to take care of my woman. So even when she's not here to tell me her needs or what she wants or what's important to her, I'm always factoring that in my decisions, right? So what's an example of what does my woman need, right? Let's say this guy is at the store, and you've been talking about how you really want to start baking all your food, right? You want to get into baking more. It's been a passion of yours. You want to eat a little bit healthier, but you do like your sweet treats, so you want to bake them at home. And he's gone to Home Depot to get himself some tools because he's been working in the shed. And as he's at Home Depot, he sees a couple of trays and cupcake trays and mixers and bowls and things like that at the store. And he's thinking to himself, oh, my wife is mentioning how she really wants to start baking and things like that. She hasn't gone to the store and gotten all the stuff that she needs, but let me go and get her some of these dishes, pots, pans, and utensils and tools that she can use to do all of her baking. And then he comes back with the tools and he says, oh, I got you some of this stuff. I know you were mentioning how you wanted to do baking. So I wanted to get you this stuff so that you will be able to do that better, because I think that this would be easier to mix with. And I know there wasn't any whisk in there, and there's a larger tray that you can put your stuff in and things like that. And, these are some of the small ways that, hey, even though you're not here, even though you're not present to say, I want this, can you get me this? Can you do this for me? Right? He's thinking, oh, my wife needs this. This is what makes her happy. This is what's important to her. I'm factoring in what's important to her even at when she's not around, even at times where she's not present to speak up for herself or tell me what she might need or want. Okay? Right? And this is the difference between someone who's in love, because love is not supposed to be a small thing, right? I see Ivy say, haha, unicorn. Love is not meant to be a small thing. This is why I feel like a lot of you are getting confused, because men are able to say, I love you over and over again, but they're not very good at backing that up. And that's why that can be very confusing, because when a man's really in love with you, he's able to think like this. Don't ever for a second convince yourself that men who are in love aren't capable of thinking like this. Men who are in love specifically think like this. Okay? And this is part of the amazing part of the Players Club, in me being a man, being able to communicate to you what it feels like to be in love as a man, and what it feels like to also not be in love as a man, and how those things will manifest in the way that we take action or don't take action. Because I will assure you, the number one thing on a man's mind when he loves a woman is her happiness. I have to keep reinforcing that in your mind, because I know some of you get anxiety when you're in a relationship wondering, how does he really feel? Does he really want me? How should I do this? Should I take action? He hasn't talked to me. He hasn't messaged me. But you have to understand, when a guy truly wants you and he really has feelings for you, your happiness is so important that doing nothing actually serves you perfectly, which is why I always talk about it. Right? Because when a guy actually has feelings for you, he will fill that void with the fact that he already cares about your happiness. He already cares about what's going on with you, and he is there to serve you. Like I say, not on his hands and knees kissing your feet, but I mean service you in a way where he cares about making you happy. And he wants to take more action in order to make you happy. Okay? Does that make sense? Sunshine says, where do I find you if TikTok gets banned? You can find me on YouTube. Okay, that's a great question. I didn't even say that yet. You can find me on YouTube. I'm live on YouTube right now at the same time as I'm live on TikTok. So just go over to my YouTube page. It's Tomisin. You just type in my first name, Tomisin, okay? And you'll find me live there, and you'll be able to see that there. Does that make sense to all of you so far? Please, it's very important, right? Men who are thinking only about themselves, and let me even give you this addition here, just a little pro tip, and then we'll move on to the next point. The pro tip is, because I know some of you might be seeing this and say, well, Tomisin, I'm not him, so I'm not in his mind. Am I supposed to ask him, how often do you think of me when I'm not with you? No. What I want you to do in order to gauge this is, I want you to see, when you're not around him, right? Does he ever come back to you saying, oh, when you were gone, or when I was at work, or when I was at the store and you weren't around and we weren't talking or whatever the case may be, I did this thing for you. Or I was thinking about how you said this, so I did this, right? You'll hear a lot of things like that. And you'll hear a lot of action that he took even when he wasn't around you. Or you never mentioned it, right? Or you never told him, I need you to do this for me, right? So this is an example, right? That's the, I guess, the physical manifestation of a man who is thinking about your needs. He'll continuously talk about or have shown you that I did this for you while I was at the store or while I was at the gym, or I remembered when you said blank, so I did blank, right? Vice versa, the men who are only thinking of themselves will never have a story like that. They'll never have anything to present to you because when they're away from you, they just think about themselves. And the only time they seem to care about you is when you're there in their presence. But after that, it kind of is like you're gone and you're disappearing into thin air. Okay? So just be paying attention to that. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that it'll become really clear to you when you actually have a man who has feelings for you and you're with a man that actually takes, a relationship serious with you. It'll be super obvious to you because experiencing how that feels, right, to receive from a man is very different from when a guy is like this. And it'll be so obvious to you once you've experienced both, the difference between them, okay? Let's hop into our fourth point. All right. This one is equally as painful, and I actually think this one applies to a lot more of you than I would hope, because I know the ways that your mind will play tricks on you. So let's discuss this point number 4 so that we can all be on the same page. So in point number 4 here, I want to describe the lead. So we're not going to do anything crazy when it comes to drawing. I'm just going to try my best to do this the right way. Okay. So we're going to have here the steering wheel. And so here we'll have the man. And here we'll have you, okay? Please remember, chat, because I know some of you don't know this, but for those of you watching me in the, what am I drawing here? We'll just draw some chairs here, okay? These are chairs. Whatever, okay, who cares? We're in a car. So in this car here, in this car here, what I want to kind of show you and help you understand, right? Someone said the drawing is disturbing. Does that not look like a car, chat? I don't know. I suck at drawing. It's okay. It's from the top view, the top view. Anyways, so what I want you to understand, though, is in a relationship, even in a talking stage, sometimes, and I know a lot of you have probably experienced this because you've been in situationships with guys who don't actually want to be serious with you. This can happen a lot. Oh, by the way, remember, those of you who are on the other side of the world, in the North America, we drive on the left side. So this is an accurate drawing, okay? This is photorealistic, all right? On your side, you guys drive on this side, we drive on the left. Now, here's the thing. With men, a lot of times when they don't actually have strong feelings for you, they will actually encourage and allow you to lead the relationship. You might be thinking, Thompson, I'm too beautiful, too much of a princess, too sexy, too seductive to ever be the one leading a relationship. I'm a princess and I get princess treatment. But what you don't realize is when you like a guy and you really want this situation to work out and you want it to work out really badly, and you're starting to notice that he's having a lot of actions and withdrawal that is making it seem like, this relationship might fizzle out. This might not work out the way that you wanted it to work out. Your anxiety starts doing something to you where you start feeling like, okay, maybe if I put in more effort, I will save our relationship from dying, okay? And because you really, really want to make sure that this doesn't get wasted, and a lot of times by the time you sleep with him, you really want to make sure you don't waste a body, now you're really pushing to make sure that this relationship can be saved if you just do your absolute best. The problem is, though, You then take the lead and you take the wheel, so to speak. You are in the driver's seat, right? So we'll put a little bit of an arrow here, right? And then we have him here. Of course, he is then the passenger. I'll just put pass here, right? And that is a very, very, very big problem. Because if you're the one in the driver's seat leading the relationship and he is comfortable being in that position, that should tell you that he don't have no real strong feelings for you like you're imagining he does. And the reason I'm saying this is because I know, and I love all of you so much, and I help so many hundreds of you, that I have seen this happen even with men that you're not dating. Because once you get into this position where you're taking the lead, see, some men are, because they're such opportunists, you might be thinking to yourself, well, Tomisin, if that guy doesn't really like me, why doesn't he just tell me that? Why is he wasting my time? And why is he even bothering to spend time with me if the whole time he doesn't like me? The answer to that is because it's easy. And when I say easy, I mean when you ask him to hang out, when you do all the planning, when you're paying for the dates for some of you, when you're doing all the work to keep the relationship going and to keep it working, right, and stop it from dying, all he has to say is, yeah, sure. You said you wanted to hang out, so sure, we'll hang out. You said you wanted to go do this, so sure, we'll go do this. You texted me, so sure, I'll text you back. You called me, so sure, I'll call you back. And after a while, that becomes the only way you're able to see him, spend time with him, and you're able to progress the relationship forward is by being in the driver's seat. But anytime a man is allowing you to lead, it's not because he thinks you're such a great leader. And it's not because he thinks you're, really assertive and you know what you want. It's because he doesn't have strong enough feelings for you that he would even have a desire to take a lead. What I want you to understand about men and their natural mindset and mind state to be in a hunter's mentality, right? Meaning when they desire something or they want something, they take the actions necessary to get that thing. It also applies to their relationship. If he really wanted you, and I'm talking about genuine desire for you and to be with you, he would not want to wait around at the possibility that you may or may not hang out with each other. You may or may not call each other. You may or may not speak to each other or see each other. He would not take that chance because it's too risky for the fact that he actually wants to make sure he can be with you. And this is where I always want to kind of like reshape your mind around how men work and how they think and how they operate and how you can play into their already existing nature. Because if men have a desire for you and they want you and want to be with you, then they take action on that desire. It's like an internal motivation for them. And it works how it's supposed to work if you allow it to work that way. On the opposite side of the spectrum, when men don't have a real desire for you and they're just kind of lukewarm on you, they don't have real strong feelings for you, then they're in a situation where they're like, sure, you can take the lead, do whatever. If you want to see me, sure, then we can hang out. If you don't want to see me, we don't have to hang out. It doesn't really bother me either way. If you want to come over, sure, you can come over if I have time. If you're not going to text me or call me or whatever to plan or schedule us hanging out, I'm not really going to bother myself that much. And so I want you to see that and feel that and absorb that and realize that what that actually means. Please don't be confused about men who are allowing you to take the lead. Because I know it can make you feel like, oh, he's allowing me to do that because he's just so chill. Or he's just so nonchalant. Or he's just so, much of a shy guy. No. Because even the shy guys recognize when they want a woman and recognize that I gotta make sure I get the woman if I really do want her. Please don't ever put yourself in the driver's seat. You will only put yourself in pain. You'll only waste a lot of time. And you'll only end up very, very frustrated. Because once you start yourself off in the driver's seat, there ain't no going back. You in the driver's seat for forever. Forever. Okay, Angel said, make me the leader of your bank account. That's funny. Kayla says this type of behavior makes me so aggravated. I understand how disappointing it can be to hear about this and realize that it's happening because I'm describing it in detail. But what I also want you to recognize is if you come across a man like this, rather than being upset about the fact that you've realized it's just not it, right? I want you to realize that it's good that I'm learning and understanding better, because now instead of me being confused, I can be clear on what this actually is. See, what I want for you all the time in your entire life, for all the time that you watch the Players Club, I want you to always get better at being able to waste less and less of your time. I do want you to end up with a great man. I want you to end up with an amazing partner. I also want you to spend as little time as possible with men who are trying to waste your time. And I know from being a man that more men are trying to waste your time than there are men who are trying to be serious with you. I'm not saying that they won't exist. I'm just saying you're going to have to sift through a lot of garbage. So I want you to spend as little time on the garbage men as you possibly can and leave them to the women who don't watch the Players Club, okay? I want to make your life become a lot more simple and provide you with a lot more clarity, okay? Because I know you're here because you probably hadn't had clarity in the past. So let's give you that. Let's hop into point number 5, okay? Something I want you also to take notice of, okay? Let's make this like a nice big pie. So we're going to do a little, we're not doing math here, okay? But we're going to do a little bit of a pie chart. So here's the thing about time and men. When men don't actually have real strong feelings for you, they're not actually in love with you, one of the main things you'll notice is this. So we have this here, this pie chart. And we're going to imagine this small sliver of time for you. And we're going to imagine this large piece of pie. So this is what the I don't actually love you as much as I'm saying I love you pie chart looks like. You'll notice a theme with men who are pretending to love you, that they are always trying to shave off the amount of time they spend with you. And it almost becomes like a burden to spend any time with you that is not getting sucked off or getting your big booty smacked all over him. If that's not what's happening, then it becomes very painful for him to want to spend that time with you doing anything. The thing that I want you to be paying attention to in the way that men will talk to you and talk about your relationship when they're not actually in love with you, they will always talk as if any time spent with you just chilling or relaxing is like a waste of time or taking away from the things that he could be doing. So what's an example of what that looks like? So for example, right, if you say, oh, babe, I want to really just, lay with you and watch a movie. And then his response is, why the hell are we watching a movie? There's no point to that. It's just wasting time. I could be doing this. I could be doing that. I could be hanging out with friends. We're just going to lay and watch a movie. That's so pointless, right? The point of it is for you guys to spend some quality time. The point of it is that he invests some of his time and energy and attention into you. But see, when you have a man who doesn't actually love you, this is painful. This is like pulling teeth. When a man doesn't actually love you, he wants to cut and slice this pie as thin as it can possibly be, okay? And I want you to take notice of that when you're dating guys, and even when you're building long-term serious relationships with guys, because this shouldn't be a painful experience. I'm not saying he should have to want to spend every second of every day with you, but the idea that he would take time out of his day or take time away from his boys or take time away from his video games, right? Because you can also have a pie chart that looks like this for some men. Okay? In a more realistic sense. You can have a pie chart that looks like this, right? And you have some things here, right? You might have video games here. right? You might have his boys here. You might have a huge pie chart here for work. And then you might have a pie chart here for fam. But the reality of it is, in a life, when you love a woman and you actually cherish her, and you want a relationship with her to work out and be good, you don't have a problem shaving off some of these things so that you can have more of his time. I'm not saying he will abandon his family and his work and his responsibilities for you, but there will be an understanding that you play an important role in his life and his happiness. Never forget this. When you marry a man, you become his new immediate family, okay? So that should be an understanding in itself. And so when a guy actually wants you truthfully, and he's not just talking about it or love bombing you, he will be the one to start making these adjustments where he's shaving off time from these other things in his life, in his pie chart, and making sure to extend that amount of time for you. And it's good because now he's in the driver's seat, like we talked about in our last point with the lead. But it's also a good place for you to be in because now in your feminine energy, as you're receiving, you can now pace him. Because when a man wants to spend more time with you and you're able to pace him to say, yep, I like spending time with you too, but let's take it a little bit easy, this allows him to be in a constant state of continuing to desire more of you. And you might think to yourself, why would I want him to be slightly anxious and continue to just want me and not get enough? Because when he feels like he's not getting enough, now he takes action on that by continuing to say, I need more of your time. I need more of your time. I want to hang out again. I want to go on another date. I want to spend more time with you. Because I know that this happens to a lot of you. You get so excited for the first date that you don't realize getting the first date and having the first date go well is not what you're shooting for. Getting the first 2 dates to go well is not what you're shooting for. Getting even the first 5 dates to go well is not what you're shooting for. What you're shooting for is to put a man in a position where on a sustained and consistent basis, he has a desire to continue seeing you over and over and over and over again. So when your only focus is on spending, that first date with him, and you're not focused on the wider and broader picture of spending multiple dates with him and keeping him in a place of constant desire, then you won't understand how this works properly and how to do this properly, right? And as it relates to this pie chart, the men should be in a place where they have a desire to see you more consistently and to make more time for you. If you're in a place where this guy is trying to shave off time with you to make room for all the other things in his life, then the feelings that you thought were once strong, I have to tell you the truth, are not as strong as you were once imagining. And that's just the honest truth. Men that are in love, they don't operate like this, where it's pulling teeth to try and get him to want to spend time with you. It just doesn't work like that. Okay? Does that make sense? Now, do you guys have any questions about the 5 that we just discussed here today? Okay? 5 very critical and important points. I hope that they made sense to all of you. All right? Are any of you confused? If you have any questions, you can ask them now. By the way, for those of you who are wanting to ask me a question that may be unrelated to the show, but about your specific situation, you can all do that by going to the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube. I have what we can consider like a 24/7 hotline where you can submit your question to me privately and I will answer it privately, okay? So the way that this works, when you go and you click that link, you click where it says private relationship advice, you type out your question as long as you want to type it out, you submit it to me, and then I will respond to you with a voice message and I'll send it back to the email that you're going to submit your question with, okay? So for those of you who have more of a complicated situation, you can also send your question into me that way, okay? I hope that makes sense. Let me go into our donations here because we have one donation. I got a super sticker from Maria who donates I don't know what that is, but we'll just say $9. Thank you so much, Maria. I appreciate your donation, as do I appreciate all of the donations, okay? Does that make sense? For point number 5, LP Baby says, why the switch up? Why do they have to shave off less time with us. Well, that's my whole point, right? When a guy doesn't actually have the feelings for you that he might be pretending to have, they're always trying to shave off the amount of time that they want to spend with you. Because to them, spending time with you is like a burden. It doesn't feel like an investment or something that he actually enjoys. See, guys are good at enjoying spending time with you when it's going to lead to sex. Just be real with you. But you'll notice that they get really busy and really frantic about doing something else with their time when it's not about sex. It's the same reason why, I don't want to go too far off topic, but it's the same reason why if you've ever dealt with a guy that was kind of like your sneaky link, or he just really wasn't, you know for a fact he wasn't that into you, whenever you're going around the time of your cycle and he knows that, you'll start to notice that he just hits you up for less things. Because the possibility of actually sleeping with you, unless depending on what he's into, but for the most part, the possibility of sleeping with you around that time of the month is just obviously a lot less likely. So he has a lot less desire to see you and spend time with you. But then that should be telling you something about what he's actually taking from the experience of spending time with you. Okay? I don't say that to hurt your feelings. I just say that to help you recognize some things, right? LP Baby says, is it true that men eventually cheat, Tomisin, some content creators keep saying that. Well, no, that's not true. The same way that obviously men do cheat, but it's not necessarily that all men cheat. But the thing that people forget about that is, just like with the relationship and just like with human beings in general, they're an investment that if you stop pouring your time and energy into another human being, whether it be a guy or a girl, the relationship will fracture. And I think that a lot of times when it comes to relationships, we get it's like a virus, I'm gonna call it. It's a virus where we think that relationships are meant to be, okay, I'll do some things right for a little bit, and then from there, I just want everything to be perfect and I never have to do anything for it ever again. Relationships and human beings don't work like that. In order for you to have a successful relationship, you have to be committed to continuing to show up day in and day out and continuing to invest in the other person. If that's not your commitment and you're thinking that there's some sort of end period where you can stop investing in the other person and then all of a sudden everything will just be fine it does not work like that. That goes for the men and the women, right? And so I'm not saying that all men cheat, but there's also a factor of how much are both people investing each other and how much are they choosing to continue investing each other. A lot of times when that process stops, or one party or the other starts thinking, oh, there's nothing more to do, there's no more to invest, that's where things start getting very weird or strange, okay, on both sides. Does that make sense? Right? Ivy says, if there were so many good men, we would not have a need for Tommy. That is true. That is true. If the men were very prevalent and amazing out there all the time, you guys wouldn't need to watch my show because there would be nothing to learn, right? All you'd have to do is go out and date anyone you can meet on Hinge, and that would be your perfect man. But unfortunately, that's not the world that we live in. Or fortunately, because now we can be together and we can be learning from each other, okay? So I want you guys to get smarter in that, because having a successful relationship you have to have strategy with that. And especially for those of you who are going out into the dating world, there's so many different, you have to understand, you're meeting strangers when you're dating, complete strangers that you don't know where they came from. They could have came from off the street, right? You don't know what they're about. You don't know what their MO is. You don't know what their motivations are. You don't know what their incentives are. So when you're going out and you're dating people, you have to strategize. And if you don't strategize and you choose to just be in la la land, who do you think's the person that's going to be strategizing against you? It's going to be the men that are dating you. And they're going to become very good at extracting from you while you're very naive and unknowing of what's really going on. I don't want you to continue to be naive and get used. It's not fun, okay? It's not very fun. Blue says, how much time do we allow for 0.5? 3 months? Well, so here's the thing. I don't want you guys to be confused here. If a man starts telling you, I love 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 you, because guys are good at just saying I love you over and over again like a robot, and they're assuming that that's supposed to move you. Whenever you start hearing that from a man, that's when I want you to start evaluating these things, okay? Because the whole point of this show is the signs that he's pretending to love you. So by the time he's telling you he loves you, you need to start evaluating if that's even true or makes sense, or if he seems like he's telling a story, okay? Because for a lot of you, Unfortunately, men are good at saying that they love you, but then when it comes down to either showing it or really being about it, or when you're starting to observe his real behavior, you realize it's just the words. Like he's not actually saying anything. And it's funny, like I've seen this plenty of times, even seeing screenshots of how men will text and they'll talk to women that they're just pretending to love. They're good at creating they could send you a whole long paragraph. That's just a whole long words. I love you. You're so amazing. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. Oh my gosh. I just think back to how amazing you are and you're like an angel. I can't believe how you came. But what does it actually mean? And a lot of guys aren't even good at giving you real examples of what it is about you that they actually love. And by the time you actually ask yourself, what did he actually say here? You won't even be able to answer to yourself, what did he actually say here? All he said was a bunch of stuff that he can probably heard in a movie or something, and it doesn't really actually mean anything to me. Okay? Right? But I also want you to recognize that because when you want to be loved really bad, sometimes you don't realize that he's not actually saying anything. He's just talking the words I love you over and over and over again, or saying it in slightly different ways. Okay? Maple says, Thompson, what if a guy booked an 11-hour flight to see me within a week? Is he love bombing me? Well, what do you mean by within a week? Like within a week of meeting you? I would be asking more questions because I'm not saying that that's inappropriate, but booking an 11-hour flight when he hasn't met you within a week is a little bit strange. Just because, most people wouldn't do that early on that timeline. I'm not saying he's a weirdo or anything weird's going on because I don't know enough about the story. It's just something to look into. That's like nothing wrong with committing to you, but if he's never met you and he's just like, hey, I've never met you, we just started talking a week ago, I'm going to take an 11-hour flight to your city and see you. Okay. That's all right. That's all right. LP Baby says, so my long-term boyfriend lied to me. He told me he loved me. He said he loved me unconditionally. He then dumped me. LOL. So he's your ex. Well, you kind of have the answer to that question. He's your ex, right? So I guess we've seen how much all of that was really true. Overlord says, probably everything he can take advantage of that he's describing as things he likes in women he's talking to. What? I'm so confused. What do you mean? Talking about me? Okay. Ivy says they are less likely to choose confident, independent women. Men can sometimes pick the girl that is the easiest to manipulate. Yes, if they're in the spirit, if they're in the spirit of manipulating a woman, like they're just looking to extract from a woman, they're not actually looking to invest in a woman, then for sure. At that time, they will be looking for the woman who's the easiest to manipulate. Now, you have to understand, for men, they get into different stages of their life. You also have to understand the same way that a man can be in a stage where he just wants to have fun and use women. There's also a stage in a man's life where I've seen it on TikTok and in other places. They kind of describe it as like the next girl syndrome or whatever, however you want to say it. What it really just means is there comes a point where if a man takes care of what he needs to take care of to be a man, to be able to provide and all the other things, for some men, once they take care of that part of their life, they get into a mode where they're hyper fixated at that point in their life on finding a good partner. Because they've taken care of the things that they need to take care of. They have direction. They know what they want. They've reached a lot of their goals. And then they're like, okay, I really need to focus on finding a good partner that I can spend the rest of my life with, that I have an alignment with. And at that time, ends up usually just being like the next girl because they're so focused on finding a good partner that they become hyper invested in making sure that they put their best foot forward, and then having a relationship becomes a lot easier, at least for the next woman that he meets, because he then takes so much of the lead and takes so much initiative that a woman just has to be in her feminine at that point, right? So the same way you'll have a lot of guys in that state where they're just looking to fool around and mess around, you'll also have some guys that are in a state where they're hyper fixated on finding a good partner, and they're actually serious about that. So it really depends on when you meet a man sometimes and where he's at in his own life, which is why I want you asking those type of questions, right, of men. Right? Someone says, do shy men also love extroverted men? I think you meant say, do shy men love extroverted women? Right? Shy men do like... my advice to all of you when it comes to shy men is if you're talking about shyness from the standpoint of he's so shy that he won't come up to me or talk to me, start a conversation with me or ask me for my number, don't bother with those men. Okay? The reason I say that is because if a guy is so shy that he can't take any initiative with you, what are you supposed to do with that? What's the difference between a guy being shy and not asking for your number and not taking the lead, or the difference between him not taking the lead because he just honestly doesn't like you, right? The only difference you're trying to put in your mind at that point is, oh, he's not taking the lead because he likes me versus he's not taking the lead because he's not actually interested. But what difference does it actually make? Because if he's not capable of taking the lead, how are you supposed to be in your feminine when you have to do things and be the one leading and progressing the relationship forward because of his quote unquote shyness? Okay. I get it. Everyone's a little bit different. I get it. Some guys, they're not as extroverted. They're not going to come on a live stream and talk to hundreds of women, right? And just be a smooth talker, a smooth sailor. I get it. Everyone's a little bit different. But if he's going to be a man, and he wants you, then he's going to have to act on his desire, right? It's just in this world we live in, the what's the word I'm looking for? The phrase I'm looking for, the strongest survive, okay? And especially for the men, if they're not going to be able to muster up the courage to be able to go out and get what they want, that includes if they want you, then unfortunately, they ain't going to be getting no women. They just going to be able to sit on the sidelines and watch the big dogs get all the women. So as a man, part of growing up and being a man is understanding that if you're just going to survival of the fittest, that was the phrase I was thinking of. If you're going to just sit on the sidelines and be so shy and, innocent and unassuming that you don't want to do anything and you don't want to take any chances, then go ahead and watch all the other successful men take all of the women you dreamed of being with. No problem, right? And you shouldn't feel bad for those men either. And the reason I say that is because you need to be with the masculine man. If he's in a state of, femininity where he's just so scared and so shy and I wouldn't even call that femininity, right? He's just in a state where he's so nervous, so scared, so shy to do anything. You can't do nothing with that guy. So why even bother caring about what his feelings or not? You need to take care of yourself and your happiness. Your happiness is being able to be in your feminine energy with a masculine man who can protect and provide, not someone who you're going to have to take care of because he's a shy little soy boy. What's the point of that? Okay. Sorry to tell you, you know what I mean? As a man, you either got to make a decision to get some courage and grow some cojones and take life by the balls, or you're going to sit on the sidelines and you're going to watch everyone else live the life that you want to live. It's just that simple. It's one of the two. Okay. Someone says, learn this the hard way. I became his mother. Please don't become a man's mother. I beg you not, right? All right, let's hop into our next segment here. Our next segment is going to be our React segment, where I am reacting to TikTok videos that you guys have sent to me from across the universe, okay? And we'll have conversation about that. Please don't forget, you want to send me a private question, go ahead and do that. Go to the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube and click where it says private relationship advice. You can send me in a question there privately. I will answer it for you via voice message, okay? We're going to hop right into our React segment next. While I prepare for that, pull my chair up. We're going to watch an intermission video. Today's intermission video comes from Simone Squared. She's talking about body language secrets to look attractive and confident, okay? So she's going to take it away, and I'll be back with you guys to discuss our React segment in just a moment.
Language important. It's not only important because it actually signals to the world who we are and our confidence and how we feel about ourselves and the world, but it's important because it actually can shape who we are. For example, have you guys ever heard, if you pull your shoulders back and stand in this superhero pose, you automatically will feel more confident? That is your body language signaling to your brain that I feel confident when I do this. Therefore, let's behave in a more confident way. If you're giving a presentation and you have this open body language, you're taking up space, which we'll talk about in a bit, you're moving around, you're signaling to the audience that you are secure and that you are someone they should be listening to. Body language is your superpower because we can also fake our body language. For example, in instances where I am not feeling confident or I'm feeling a little bit insecure, I will be very, very mindful of my body language and how I'm presenting to the world. So if we're feeling insecure and unconfident, naturally we want to take up less space, which means we hunch our shoulders, and we probably have a downward gaze. And if we have a downward gaze, we're indicating that we are submitting right now, okay? We don't feel good. We're looking down. We feel weak and powerless. Guys, pull your shoulders back. Do some posture exercises. You can't have this aura of confidence, yet you still be like this. It doesn't work like that. Fix your posture. And posture is not actually just about pulling your shoulders back, by the way. It's how we walk. So it's got to do a lot with our hips and also our gait. When you are shaking hands with someone, I never ever want you to give them a weak handshake. When I was 12, my mum had a bookshelf of like business books, right? A lot were by Donald Trump, and she'll give me them to read, and I will never forget. He said in his book, never give someone a weak handshake. I won't do business with someone who has a weak handshake, because it's a signal of who we are and our conviction, our strength. I always remembered that since a very early age, and now whenever I give someone a handshake, I have a very firm grasp, and every time they will compliment me. Eye contact, we touched on this point earlier, but you want to have good eye contact. So eye contact like this for 3 to 5 seconds, and then you can look away and come back, look away, come back. People who are insecure, they will always look down, or they'll look anywhere but you. Have you ever been on a date and the other person or you are so nervous that you might look at them and then you immediately look away? I know there's been times where I've been really nervous and I find like I can't even make eye contact with them, and I'll be like, but that indicates nervousness and that you're not feeling that confident in the moment. So especially in situations where you need to show that you are confident, for example, if you're going into like a legal battle, okay, your lawyer and the other lawyer, they're having a face-to-face conversation. When they're presenting an offer to you, if you are looking hesitant, shrinking your body language, looking down, they can tell you're restless. You don't really know what's going on. You don't feel.
Thank you, Mrs. Simone Squared, for our intermission time. We're gonna hop right into our next segment here.
Let him go! Let him the fuck go! Yes, you can! Yes, you fucking can! 2025 is calling. Are you ready to restart your life with a new fucking journey away from that man? 2024 was the last year of your fucking downfall. 2025 will be the first year of your fucking comeback, and that's the fucking truth. Let him go.
Why do you guys keep sending me this? You know what? It's a nice switch up. He's got a lot of energy. I'm just a different type of person. So it's great. You know, it's great. I'm so glad that he can come on our screen on our daily basis and give us that jolt, you know, that splash of cold water that we need to. Look at his passion. Look at his mouth wide open. A lot of energy. Okay. He's probably got to drink tea just to shoot his videos, because there's no way his vocal box can survive the harsh damage he's doing it to it by creating these videos for you. He's like risking his life for all of you. So great creator. He does things I could never dream of doing.
I just saw a girl say that a guy she'd been seeing for 7 weeks had not texted her from Sunday to Thursday because she understood he'd been busy. I want to give you a frame of reference for busy. Number one, if a man ever tells you, sorry, I've been busy, understand he doesn't like you. He does not like you. Men will text you in the middle of their job. They will walk out of meetings with heads of departments to take your phone call if they need to.
Let me add this as well, because I want you to know this truth as a guy. Let's just say hypothetically, he's having a horned up conversation with you. You guys know what I mean by horned up. If he's having a horned up conversation with you and, you know, he's in the middle of work or in the middle of a meeting or in the bathroom or in the wherever, right? He knows how to text you back if he's horned up and you're saying some horned up things to him, right? He definitely knows how to text you back fast then. So just take notice of that in the times where he seems to be available to message you back fast versus the times he seems to not be available to message you back fast.
Especially in the dating phase. Especially in the dating phase. Men to text you, like an anesthesiologist could text you while he's in the middle of surgery. Do you understand that?
I get what she's saying. I just hate to be this. Technically, no, because they have to sterilize themselves, so they couldn't pull out a phone. But voice message, yeah.
Do you understand that a surgeon has his cell phone in the operating room and a nurse could text you back? A nurse reads the surgeon their text and they can text you back.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, like that.
Do you understand that like a CEO has his phone in all meetings and is frequently just like listening to people and will text you back? Do you understand that legislators, like senators, governors, like these people, like high level people, they have their phones on them all the time. All the time. And they text other people back all the time. The only way a person is too busy to text you back is if they are literally riding in an ambulance because the ambulance had to be called for them, if they are actively throwing up, or if they just found out someone very close to them passed away. And 60 seconds later, they're going to be picking up the phone because they're going to want to be communicating with people. That's it.
I get what she's saying. Now, I also don't want you guys to become too stuck on the idea that men are always available on their phone and that if he doesn't text you back in 12 minutes or 2 minutes, that means the world is ending. Because I'm not a big texter, so my whole frame of reference that I want you to be considering, anytime you meet a guy, whether you meet him on Hinge, Bumble, Tinder, even though I don't advise those, whether you meet him at a party, club, event, a get-together, wherever, anytime you start dating a guy and he proceeds to not message you, call you, or contact you for 2 weeks straight, 14 days, no contact, no message, no nothing, at that point, I want you to consider all forms, like just the relationship is over. Meaning that if after those 14 days, he messages you some tragic story about this happened and that happened, and he was so busy and work and he was, his mind was in a different place, you still ignore him. Because in my experience, 14 days is enough time to both deal with the tragedy, deal with work, deal with stress, deal with unexpected issues, dealing with all the unplanned events, dealing with being like everything that could possibly happen will have happened in 2 weeks. And he will have had some time to, even if he couldn't, message you and hang out with you or whatever the case may be, he can at least let you know at that point that something was going on in his life. That's why I like to give that as just a reference point that all of you can feel confident that if 2 weeks passes, 14 days, and he hasn't said anything to me, there is no excuse that he could give to me that would make sense. That's why I give that, because I don't want you guys to be like in a place where you're thinking, oh, if he doesn't message me in 1 day, then that means he doesn't want to be serious and da-da-da-da. Because then when he tells you, oh, the whole day I was doing this and doing that and I was busy and I had a tragedy and da-da-da-da, you're going to be like, oh, I guess it's fine, right? So for your frame of reference, if you want a clear one, 2 weeks, and after that, you don't accept any excuse because there's none that would even make sense in that time frame. And at that point, you just consider it over and you move on with your life regardless of what he messages you about hanging out after that.
Rating red flags once you hit the 3-month mark of talking to someone. Okay, not introducing you to your mom and dad. That is not something that has to happen right away. I think once you hit like maybe the 6-month mark, that's something that can, be in discussion. But I don't think that's that big of a deal. Let's put that at 9. You don't need to meet mama and papa right away. Okay, never talking about your future together. Once we hit 3 months, there should be maybe at least 1 or 2 instances where you're like, okay, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Like, that should have been brought up at this point. But
I think that the asking someone else where they see themselves in 5 years or what they want for themselves in the future, that should be a question that gets asked on the very first few dates. Because that's not some sort of intrusive question. That's me asking you about your life and your own desires for your own life. I'm not asking you what you want to do with me. You don't even know me, but you should know what you want to do with yourself. That's not an invasive question.
But it's also not the biggest red flag in the world. We're going to go ahead and put that at 8. Talking only about surface stuff. Yeah, no, I don't like that.
For me, that's like 2 or 1, because I don't play that. We not gonna sit here and small talk for a whole day. Like if we're supposed to be exploring a romantic relationship, small talk is super. Like, I'm not saying you can't use that to break ice, but if we're not in a place where we're prepared to get deep with each other, or at least attempt to, what's the point? What are we doing?
I feel like you should have a pretty clear understanding of who you are as people by the time you've hit the 3-month mark. I also don't think that it's the worst thing, because sometimes it takes some people a little bit more time to open up about who they are, but I also don't love that. So we're going to go ahead and put that at 5, right in the middle. Suddenly becoming super busy. Oh no, we don't like that, because obviously that...
I'm not gonna lie, this is really low for me. My list is obviously different than hers. This would probably be 8 or 9 for me, because I'm obviously have a more of an avoidant personality style. So if people become suddenly busy, it doesn't really affect me.
leads to the relationship exiting. Oh, let's put that at 2. Oh, that's so scary. I hate that. Never taking the blame for anything. We do not like a gaslighter. No, we do not. Don't want to put that at... We're going to put that at 3. Taking forever to answer
That'd be 3 for me as well. I hate people that can't take accountability.
text. Now, here's the thing. If the guy makes a plan to see you, that's what matters the most. If they're a shitey texter, then it's like, okay, yeah, that sucks, but it's not the biggest red flag. I'm going to go ahead and put that at 7.
That's like 10 for me. I could give less of a damn how long it takes you to text back. If you want to take a day, take a day. It's not going to affect my psyche.
Because some people just don't like texting. Not caring about your past won't. Your past is literally what defines you as a human being. That's not okay. I also don't think that that's like the number one that should take number 1. So we're gonna go ahead and put that at 4.
like 6 or
Never
7 for me.
apologizing. Okay. I might have to
That's like 2 for me. I don't like people that can't take accountability. I don't like
put
it.
that at 1, because that's going to lead to more gaslighting. Not caring about what you want. What? Why are you even with that person then? It can't be one-sided. We're gonna have to put that at 6. Okay.
They're like 4 for me.
What's the
something
thing
around there.
that is not the biggest deal? Refusing to talk about feelings. Okay. That,
Oh, number 1 for me. Number 1.
I wish I put that at number 1. Rating red flags once you hit the...
Yeah, that last one's number 1 for me. If you can't discuss how you feel about things and your thought process and what you're going through so that I can understand you, we're wasting our time here. Because like what's the point of us even having a relationship? If you're not able to communicate your feelings to me, we're never going to be able to come to an understanding. So we just wasting time. That would be number 1. That would definitely be number 1. I like to talk about it. We chat. Me, you, we chat. Chat lots. Chat me your feelings lots. All of them.
If a guy likes you, you're going to notice that through his body language. If a guy likes you, you're going to notice that through his actions. If you want to know if a guy really likes you, do not listen to what he says, but listen to what he does. A guy who likes you will rub his chin when you're speaking to him in a conversation.
What? She was doing so well. What is the rub? Where did the rub the chin thing come from? Where did that come from?
A guy who likes you will flare his nostrils when speaking to you in a conversation.
Did I miss some psychology book? Is this a new Robert Greene book that she read? Where they she said flare their not. Hey girl, how you doing? I think you're so beautiful. I think you're one of the most beautiful women I've ever met. What? What?
A guy who's attracted to you will raise his eyebrows while speaking to you in a conversation. A guy who's truly interested in you will cock his head to the side when speaking to you in a conversation. A guy who will start a situationship with you will comment on your body and not your character. A guy who's truly interested in you for a relationship will want to start a friendship with you. A guy who's attracted to you will get lost in your beauty and just stare at your eyes.
Wait.
You for a relationship and not your character. A guy who's truly interested in you start a situationship with you will comment on your body and not your character. A guy who's truly interested in you for a relationship will want to start a friendship with you. A guy who's attracted to you will get lost in your beauty and just stare at your eyes, your lips, and back at your eyes. A guy who's a player will give you his undevoted attention while you're together, give you mixed signals when you're not. A genuine guy will go out of his way to know what your interests are and plan hangouts accordingly. And a guy who is a player is always going to have his phone facing downward for obvious reasons. A guy who's truly into you will wait. And a guy who is not truly interested in you will always pressure you to do things that you don't want to do. A guy who's in love is going to look at you like this.
I think I missed that Robert Greene book. I think I missed that one. I think this is a new edition. I think this is the 51st Power. They have the 48 Laws of Power, and then they had the 50th Power with 50 Cent and Robert Greene. This is the 51st Power. I think that's the name of that book that she read. I missed that one. I've read a lot, but I haven't read that one. That one I missed. I missed that one.
Why are you still reaching out but not making efforts to see me? Because you've been receptive to me reaching out whenever I want, and I like knowing this is one of my options. So you reaching out doesn't mean you're actually trying to date me. If I was seriously trying to date you, I would carve out time to see you. So you're not just super busy. Even if I was super busy, I could find at least an hour in my schedule for the right person. So you're just keeping me engaged in case other priorities fall away. Yeah, pretty much. But you've been cool with that, right? Better than nothing. Why are you still reaching out but not making efforts to see me?
I'm muted, sorry. The other thing that I'll say to that is sometimes guys will do that just because this is a very strange thing. But when you sleep with a woman as a guy, you feel a sense of extreme power. What I mean by that is, like, for you to sleep with a woman, especially a beautiful woman, right? She has to accept you into her soul, her spirit. So when they do that, you feel like you did something. You feel like you accomplished something. You feel a little bit more like the man. But the thing about it is sometimes when you move past that relationship or that person, you want to go back to feeling like the man. And you want to recognize that you still have that level of control or power over that person, that if you really wanted to, they would still let you do it. What I mean by do it, like insert themselves inside you. And for some men, it really is that simple that they'll reach out, and not even in a situationship sense, but they'll reach out to you with no expectation of actually hanging out with you or seeing you, just to recognize if they still have that level of power over you, to see if you'll answer, you'll respond, you'll be interested in hanging out or talk about it. And then once he recognizes that he has that power, he'll go back to doing what he was doing, because he just wants to see if he has that power for him to feel good about himself. I know it sounds very weird, but it's one of the sneaky tactics, and I know that you're confused because when he hits you up and then doesn't message you back again, you're just kind of like, what is going on here? What was the purpose of that? That was the purpose, for the ego hit. Okay, it's like dopamine. All right, let's hop into our next segment of the day, because I know we're gonna have a lot to do today. All right, for those of you who know what time it is, please spam it up in the chat. Okay, if you're an OG Players Club member, you know what time is coming, and I want you to tell everyone else in the chat what time is coming. It is a special time. It is an amazing time. It is a time where you're going to laugh and you're going to cry. Don't look at your watch. Don't look at your clock. Don't look at your phone. Don't look nowhere else in your entire home. And if you don't know the time, I'm going to tell you the time. Oh boy, I love it, man. It's Friday, man. All right, let's hop into our Discord segment of the show. I know some of you are confused because you're new here and you don't know what that is. I'm going to explain this to you right now. So Discord times where all the amazing members of our Players Club Discord community get an opportunity to ask me a question about their situationship or their relationship, and I answer it live on the show. Now, I'm going to read out to you the different ways you can send in your question if you're curious about sending in your question. So the first way is by going to our free relationship advice forum in our Discord. Now, this forum here, you can just drop in your question and make sure you format it the way that everyone else has been formatting it, and then I will answer it on a first come, first serve basis. So you can go on to my link in my bio on TikTok or in my description, go down to where it says Players Club Discord, click that, and then you can drop your question in here. Now you see how I'm scrolling through all these highlighted questions. Okay, that's because everyone has a question about something, which is great. Very active, Discord we have here. Now, it's a first come, first serve forum, so it's probably going to take me about 2 weeks or so to get to your question if you ask it today, because we're backed up with so many questions. Now, if you are someone who is impatient, meaning you don't want to be waiting around to get your question answered because you see that long queue and you're like, I can't wait weeks to ask a question, you can also submit your question via our premium Discord relationship advice forum. Now, the way that this forum works is that instead of me going right to the free ones, any questions that are in here that have been submitted here, I read them out first because they get to skip the line. Now, the way that you are able to skip the line and you're allowed to skip the line, you have to first go to the link in my bio on TikTok or in my description, click where it says Premium Relationship Discord Advice, and then you'll be prompted to donate to the show. And then also add in your donation in the bar there. You're going to have to type out your Discord username and title your question so that I can confirm that that's you and that's your question. And then I know that you're supposed to be in this forum here because obviously you're getting to skip the line. So we have to keep it fair for everyone, right? Now, the third way that you can submit your question is by going to our private relationship advice hotline. Okay. Now, the way that this works is I know some of you aren't going to necessarily want to put your question out for everyone to see and know your information. So if you want to ask me a private question, you can also submit that to me. And this link here is in our Discord, but it's also in my bio on TikTok or in my description. Click where it says private relationship advice. You can ask and type out your question to me. And then once you submit it to me, I respond to you with a voice message, usually 8 to 10 minutes long. And then you get that back through your email. No one else sees it except for me. Okay. So trust me, a lot of people have been using that as well. And I got a lot of wild stories through the private forum or our private link. Okay. Let's hop into our first question of the day here. Oh, I gotta do so much scrolling. All right. Let me scroll down. Okay. We had, this one was done already. We had a pin in one of LP Baby's questions. Okay, so let's do one of these here. Your opinion and perspective matters to me. Hi, Tommy. You mentioned in past shows to subtly create desire during the early stages of talking / getting to know a man in the early stages of dating. What are some non-toxic / decent, high-value woman things, content to post on our stories and social media accounts? I don't want to come across as attention-seeking, thirsty, validation-seeking at all. I usually post my gym stats and short videos, boomerangs of my sneakers on the elliptical. I don't know if that's doing the most. No, you're going for a workout. You're posting yourself at your workout. There's nothing wrong with that. I like to work out and post about it because it's motivating to me. I just don't want to send the wrong message, and I wanted to know a man's perception of this. Any other types of content that would be considered appropriate and inappropriate to use Instagram, Facebook wisely? I'm not into posting too many selfies or body shots, but is posting myself in cute outfits okay or too much? Thank you again, King. My advice to you is, well, I'll be clear with you. As it relates to going to the gym, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That just shows that you like to live a healthy lifestyle. You're into taking care of yourself and your body, which there is not a single man on this earth that is going to be offended or have a problem with the fact that you enjoy taking care of yourself, or you're very meticulous in the way that you take care of yourself as a woman. That's part of being a feminine woman. That's amazing. So no man's going to complain about that. The other thing that I'll add to you, if you're ever curious about what is appropriate or inappropriate to post, obviously, I'm just a boy. So what does it really matter what I say? But if you want to kind of gauge how you should go about it, this is my advice to all of you ever thinking about this. If you're in, let's say you're at a whole big party with all of your friends and family and your, cousins and your extended family, okay? Your aunts, uncles, cousins, brothers, sisters, mom and dad is all there. And you're at a family function, and on the projector in the backyard comes on someone's phone, and their phone is on your Instagram page. If they're scrolling through your Instagram page in front of all your cousins, aunties, uncles, nephews, nieces, and everyone seeing your Instagram page, and you're embarrassed about what's on there, or you're kind of like, oh my God, please, no one look at my Instagram page. Okay, at least the adults. If you're embarrassed about how that represents you, then my advice is there's a misalignment between who you want to be and how you want to represent yourself and the digital representation of you. I'm not saying you can't post booty pics. I'm not saying you can't post yourself half dressed if that's what you want to do, but then stand on that. Okay, so if that's your vibe, that's how you want to look, that's what you want to post on your story. I'm not here to tell you the difference between right and wrong, but that should be what you stand on. So you should feel like that represents who I am, and that represents me as a human being as I am. I don't feel any ways about people seeing that. I don't feel any ways about my aunt or uncle or anyone or things seeing that, right? Because we're all grown adults. That's me. That's my vibe. That's what I like to post, and I'm going to stand on that. As long as that's your feeling when you think about people seeing your Instagram, hey, that's perfectly fine. You just have to be as much of yourself as possible. My only thing is that if there's a misalignment there and you feel like, oh, I don't want them to see this part of me, or I don't want them to see these posts that I post, well, then why are you posting it if you don't feel like that's a good representation of you if your family is there? Because then that kind of makes me question, if that's not how you want to represent yourself, but then that's how you're representing yourself, what's the disconnect there? There's a little bit of disassociation going on in that scenario, okay? Let's go on to our next question. Okay, wow, so many that we have. Okay, so we're putting a pin. We don't want to do too many from one person. So LP baby, we're going to put some pins in yours so we can read them out as time goes on. Let's go on to hear from A, who writes, when to meet family/friends. When is it appropriate to introduce a guy I'm dating to my friends/family? Is this different from, or if you meet him in person versus dating on an app? When should I meet his friends and family? Should I aim to meet his friends, his first, or mine first? I actually had a whole show about this, the complete sex timeline. But in that timeline, I discussed when the most appropriate times to look for, to meet the friends and the family are. Obviously, friends should come before family. And when it comes to family, I forget exactly how I structured it because I tried to make sure to be very specific. But I believe it was around the 4 to 5 mark when it comes to family of knowing someone, right? And at that point, it doesn't even necessarily have to be his mother and father. It can just be a sibling or something like that, right? It doesn't have to be someone who's like a parental guardian or figure in his life. The reason I say that is because I want to be also mindful of what would actually be realistic and comfortable for people at different times, and also mindful of how much you may or may not see someone in that time period. Now, what I'll say to you is if you're meeting someone over a dating app, my advice to you would be to your clock doesn't start until you start going on in-person dates with that person. So for example, if you meet someone on an app or over IG and you guys talk for a month without actually going out on a date, your clock doesn't start running in terms of thinking about how long it's been in the timeline until you have that first meeting. The reason I say that is you cannot ensure at all that this is a real relationship or anything that you think is happening here is actually happening until you meet him in person. And I'm telling you this not only from experience, but also from helping hundreds of women, not just in private messages, but also in public messages here in our Discord, because plenty of women have come in thinking that they had their perfect man over Instagram or over Hinge or Bumble, only to meet him and then realize he's not so perfect. So that's why I say your clock doesn't start if you're meeting someone online until that first in-person, real proper date, okay? So reference my complete timeline, sex timeline on my YouTube channel if you want to get the full exact breakdown of everything there. But to answer your question simply, the family should come like 4 to 5 months in, and the friends is around, 2 to 3 months. Okay, let's go into our next one here. Our next question here. Okay, let me just find my place here. I did that one. All right, Lori M. Okay. Lori M says, need advice navigating a talking stage with a long distance connection. I'm a 32-year-old female, and I've been talking to a 39-year-old man for about a month now. We're in the talking stage and live in different countries. I'm Latin American and he's in the US. There's no language barrier since English is my fluent language, but we've been enjoying practicing Spanish together, which has been a fun way to connect and learn from each other. He works from home and lives in a state where he feels isolated. We're like Wyoming, something like that, with his mother being the only family member nearby. He visits her weekly. Most of his interactions are via calls or text, and he recently told me he sometimes feels overburdened by only having phone-based communication. What? He assured me that his feelings about being overwhelmed aren't about me specifically, but rather his situation in general. Let's go on reading. Since he shared this, our conversation has become less engaging than they once were before. He still reaches out daily, but our exchanges now are more minimal. Funny posts or quotes, that's not really even a conversation, compared to the flirty, engaging talks we used to have. We met on a dating app, of course you did, back in August, and I matched with him because we both had the intention of finding something serious. That's what everyone says on the dating app. That doesn't actually mean that that's that, but I'm just saying. I only started engaging more in November when he mentioned that he wanted to meet me in person when he visits my country. Okay. That confirmation made me feel comfortable enough to open up and connect with him more. Okay. Did he actually plan it though? That's the other thing. The thing with long distance relationships or meeting someone who doesn't live in your area is the promise of seeing you one day is not the same as booking his flight and booking the Airbnb. What I mean by that is it's easy to just talk about, yeah, one day I'm going to see you, da 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 da. But actually doing that is two different things. And sometimes when you're getting so hooked on the hope, you can forget that the actual action is doing the thing. Now I'm in a position where I don't know if he's genuinely overwhelmed or if he's losing interest. I want to be understanding and give him space, but I don't want to have false hopes. Any advice on how I should approach this situation? Should I address my feelings about missing our old conversation? No. Before you even finish, no. Don't do that. He didn't ask you to explain. Don't explain. Okay? Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Or continue giving him space and see how things evolve. I'd appreciate your thoughts. Okay. Please do not do this. Okay? I'm going to tell you again. Don't do this. You're going to start itching. Okay? You're sending in your message. You want to figure some things out. I know it's been a few weeks since I've been able to answer this. I know you're itching. Don't over-explain yourself, especially when a guy he talks to you as much as he feels like talking to you. He texts you as much as he feels like texting you. If he wanted to talk to you more and he wanted to text you more, he would just do that. So the reason I say that is I know in a perfect world, when you communicate with people and you address things and you're very clear and concise in your communication and what you want, that the men will just make an adjustment. The problem is though, whenever you're talking about the amount of attention a man is giving you or not giving you, the reality of it is he will give you as much attention as he feels like giving you. So when you beg for more or you try to bargain up more or you try to bring to his attention he's not giving you enough, he will just say, oh, I'm sorry, and go back to doing what he's been doing or giving you the amount of attention that he just feels is necessary, right, for himself. So my advice to you is at this point where you're coming to a crossroads and you're feeling like this could really fizzle out into nothing, this is the time where you do a lot of nothing. What do I mean by that? You stop reaching out altogether. You stop messaging altogether. You stop calling altogether. In fact, if all he's going to do is send you stupid, like, how old you said he was? 39. Not that memes are a bad thing, but if all he's going to do in conversation with you is send you stupid, silly memes that he sees on Instagram, I want you to stop responding to those as well. Okay. Unless he's actually going to make an attempt to strike conversation with you and either call you or like see how you're doing, I don't even want you to bother responding to him. Right. Because what we want to see now is we want to start this clock going. I talked about this earlier before our Discord time. 14 days is the clock you want to be on with men that you start talking to, because I know things can go through their ebbs and flows and things can happen. People can have emergencies in their own lives. But in 14 days, 2 weeks, if a guy cannot reach out to you and let you know what's going on or try to have a real conversation with you, he really doesn't have interest in you. And there's just no way around it. There's no excuse of busyness, of work, of emergencies that could take up 2 weeks that he couldn't even take his phone out and have a simple text message to you or reach out to you in some way, shape, or form or fashion. And so the reason I say that is I want to start that clock for you. And I want you to be sure that this is really happening, because if you stop reaching out and you stop putting in a whole bunch of effort and he goes and says, yeah, I really don't care enough to talk to her or reach out to her for 2 weeks, then you know his interest level wasn't even at a place where you can build a relationship out of it anyways. I know it's very morbid to go about it that way, because you might realize that it really is the truth that he's just not that interested. But it's a good realization to have, because after those 14 days, it'll be so obvious to you that you're wasting your time that you won't even be inclined or desire to reach back out to him and try and save the relationship, right? I want you to just have the clarity answer for yourself. That way, when you're moving forward, you're not thinking to yourself, but what if I said this? What if I reached out? What if I messed? No. In 2 weeks, he can't message you. There is no relationship. Okay. Let's go on to our next question here. All right. We'll see. This one comes from B. All right. B says, need advice moving on. Hi, Tomisin. I'm struggling to let go of this guy I was friends with benefits with last year. He's in NYC and I'm in Chicago. I'm a 47-year-old female and he's a 52-year-old man. I was hoping the friends with benefits would lead to a relationship. What did you say? I'm 47. He's 52. I was hoping the friends with benefits would lead to a relationship. Let's take a stretch chat. Let's take a stretch chat. Because I thought when you read certain things, you just think to yourself, why? You know? You just think to yourself, genuinely, why? Why? On God's green earth, would you be in hope that a man who you were friends with benefits would somehow magically say, yeah, I've been sleeping with you for absolutely nothing this whole time and no commitment, but now all of a sudden something has happened to me and I'm going to want to be in a relationship with you. On top of that, the two of you are not without experience in life. So what I mean by that is a 52-year-old man knows whether he's in situations for commitment or for enjoyment and fun. If a 52-year-old man is friends with benefits with you, there ain't no commitment coming anytime soon. The reason I'm saying this is because when you guys are dealing with older men, I need you all to really understand that this is not an adapt and adjust situation. When you're meeting men after a certain point, they are who they are. So you just spend your time getting to know who he is. But if you realize that's not going to work for you, don't even bother asking him to change anything. Men at this age aren't going to change a damn thing for no one. I'm telling you the truth. So At that point, if you don't like the vibes that's going on, you don't like the commitment he has to you, you better accept that that's what it's going to be forever. Because men at this age, they ain't change. I'm telling you, they're not changing anything about the way they operate. They're not changing anything about the way they talk, they're not changing nothing. So don't be in a pipe dream where you're thinking things are going to change nothing's changing. Okay? And he would break up with his girl. Let's read the whole sentence out. I never got a chance to finish it. It was so devastating. I was hoping the friends with benefits would lead to a relationship and he would break up with his girlfriend. That was your deep desire here. He hinted at that, like him. Let's go on. I can't stop again. But earlier this year, he just wanted to be platonic friends after we argued a lot. He told me he'll never sleep with me again. He's a DJ. How do you make so many mistakes in choosing a man? Part of what I tried. Oh my God. Let me just take a lap. I just don't get it, bro. I don't understand it. I really don't. Oh my God. Just make some adjustments. Part of why I have these conversations with you all, right, is because I want you to grow in your understanding of situations that will be wasting your time from the very beginning. Okay? And this is one of those situations, right? A man who's 52 years old, who is a DJ with a girlfriend, why would you even bother investing any of your time in a guy like this? You're not going to see anything that you want from this guy. And I like, it's just such a pointless even like place to start when you learn that he does this for work. Obviously he has a girlfriend and obviously he's not looking to commit, like whatever. Example, like the promoter example that you gave, he got lots of girls as friends and is up until 4 a.m. drinking at the club. Swears he's not sleeping with any of them. Like, let's. I was born at night, but I wasn't born last night. Don't let no one convince you. Just don't let people convince you of this stupid malarkey type, these things like this. He's not fit with my 9 to 5. Like I think you might say he doesn't fit with my 9 to 5 job and only goes out clubbing every month. Oh, sorry, you only go out clubbing every month or two and the long distance. So you're also in long distance. We used to talk a lot on the phone and opened up emotionally. We got into an argument last time we saw each other. His time was limited, like we talked today, and he timed our interaction on his phone. He left with 2 girls that night. Said he slept with one 3 years ago and didn't sleep together that night. Sorry, she said he slept with one of them 3 years ago and they didn't sleep together that night. He left with 2 of them. His behavior just pissed me off. So what did you do? And I've told him off on the phone several times, but you didn't leave. I still have an emotional attachment and I miss him. He says he doesn't want to be friends and will never visit me again. This was July. Can you give me some advice to move on and get him out of my head? We still argue back and forth on the phone and email, accusing him of lying and sleeping with the girls and trying to get rid of me that night. And mad he didn't spend time with me then for my birthday. He shifts the blame to me, calls me paranoid, and won't admit he did anything wrong or apologize. I'm so frustrated and stuck. Also, He was supposed to come out for my birthday last June, but he couldn't get a flight. He's a DJ. This led me to crying all weekend to him and him wanting to only talk to me once a month. I flew out to see him a month later, but I drank too much and he barely talked to me. Later that month, I got fed up with not seeing him and told him just to block me on social media everywhere. Once again, okay, I'm going to be mean to you, but because you need this. Why are you asking him to block you? I can't get over this type of stuff because you are a grown woman. When you recognize someone is wasting your time, you need to pick yourself up off the floor and take care of yourself. Why do you have this expectation that a guy who has been abusing you and taking advantage of you should be the one that actually cuts this off? If you're recognizing that he is not treating you, you are not a teenager, okay? I need to remind you that you have to get to a point where you decide to take care of yourself. Why are you asking this man to block you? I know it's emotional. I know it's hard to deal with these situations, and I know it's frustrating. But you cannot be in a place where you're knowing you're getting mistreated, you're knowing you're getting treated bad, and you're asking that man to be the one who helps you move on. Why would he do that? Why would he make it easier for you to move on from him? He's able to take advantage of you. What would be the purpose? How would that serve him? Clearly, he's interested in serving himself. You need to be the one who looks out for yourself and says, this doesn't serve me. It doesn't make sense for me anymore. You're able to describe it in your message, which means you're smart and intelligent enough to see it happening as it's happening to you. And you need to be the one to make the decision that I must end this cycle. Right? He got my number blocked. I still call. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, this is so frustrating. I need to take a moment, chat. I'm not even joking. I don't understand. What are you doing? Oh my gosh. Let me just. I need a second. I don't. The guy, he's done you even the favor of blocking you. And you're still calling him via Google Voice. B, what do you want me to do for you? We're going to finish your message, but what do you tell me, really, answer this for you. What do you actually want me to do for you? Because I can't do anything for you in this state like this. I have to be real with you. If I care about you and I care about your well-being and I have to be honest with you. I can't do anything for you in this state. What am I supposed to help? The man even actually did you a favor and blocked you, and you still picked up the phone and found a way around the block to contact him. So how are we supposed to work together to get you to where you want to go now? How are we supposed to do anything? Because clearly you will find a way to contact him if you want to contact him. And even in him blocking you like you requested, it still doesn't work. It still doesn't for you to signal in that, okay, I need to move forward now. So how am I supposed to help you if you don't even want to be helped in this state and in this stage? Because I'll be real with you, this isn't someone who wants help. Like, you don't want my help. Because if he's blocking you and you're going around, like, you're looking for your own strategy on how to contact him still, you're not looking for my help. You're doing what you want to do. So then you have to ask yourself, do you really want to get through this situation? Or do you just want to be with him at any cost? Even at the cost of your own self-respect? I'm just so hurt and mad. He swears he didn't sleep with them and I was the only friends with benefits. My gut says they did sleep together. The girls were chasing after him hard. I can't follow the logic train. He says He says sexual things to the girls on his Twitch stream. What? So he's a DJ and a Twitch streamer? I lost my place here. This is too crazy. Where did this go? On his Twitch stream. And one girl came to NYC 2 weeks after he missed my birthday. What is going on here? But he's shown me his GPS. What? Where he went home with his friends that night after the concert. I went on a monogamous relationship and I want a monogamous relationship and to follow your advice. Sorry, I'm just my mind is going a million different places. I'm trying to understand 50 things at once. He told me before that he would sleep with me again, but only if I had a boyfriend. I can't chat. I don't know if I can even comprehend what this message is saying. You're all amazing women. Can some of you help me translate what is being, I don't understand what is happening here. I'm thoroughly confused. Why would he tell you that he would like to only sleep with you if you have... Let's just keep reading. I've also said, I should have said, see me now or not at all. Why would you say that? When he went off with the two girls, he said he would have chosen not to see me at all. Last time we spoke, he said he'd treat me however he wants to. He actually said that to you. How can I let go and stay focused on my life being a queen? And how do I deal with girls coming up and talking to the guy when I'm interested in him and he ends up with them and ignoring me? This happens all the time. I just want to yell at them and fight the girls. Update. Is it too late to apply the how to catch a liar steps in your video? That's what you're thinking about. That's what you're thinking about. That's where your focus is. I just did it from what I remember and it doesn't add up. He will die with the lie. It's been about 2 weeks since I've contacted him. Yesterday, I followed your advice and deleted his number, all records of his calls, voice message, photos, and photos on social media. You had photos of him on your social media? He's blocked everywhere. It was so painful. I've been focusing on me, working out, doing hobbies, and looking for a better paying job. Thanks, Tommy. Yesterday, I went to his Twitch stream and we're right back to square one. We're right back to square one. I thought we were at least going to end the message on a good note, and we're right back to square one. He was streaming from a girl's house. He called a friend. Clearly, they are friends with benefits, playing a song that says, I love you. Said it was for her. Viewers making all these sexual comments about them when the stream is ending. Wearing the same shirt he wore the last time we slept together. I'm very sad for you. He's being an a-hole and flaunting it, hoping I'm watching. That's you. I didn't say anything. Okay, I'm gonna say this nicely. Okay, this last part. He was not streaming for you. Okay, and he was not streaming so that you would see it. I'm gonna tell it to you nicely. He was not thinking about you. His stream and the things he was doing with that girl, it has nothing to do with you. Okay? Just letting you know. I'm trying to say it nicely. I know sometimes your emotions can get you riled up and things like that. That was not about you. Okay? Now, as it relates to this guy and in your update, is it too late to apply the catch a liar strategy? I want you to be applying no strategy with this man except for the strategy of how you're going to move your life forward. Okay? That's the strategy I want you applying. The reason that I say that is because this situation has become a monumental waste of your time. And not only has it become a waste of your time, we're actually getting into a quite scary situation here. Because he's like, I'll just give you a little bit of a picture to frame it here. If the roles were reversed and you as a woman block a man and you tell someone that you don't want to speak to them, and then they proceed to download Google Voice to contact you and call you, that's a version of harassment. You do understand that, right? I get it, you're a woman, so it seems a little bit more lighthearted and you just want to get some answers. But when someone blocks you and tells you to your face they do not want to speak to you, and then you proceed to go around the blocking to try and have a conversation with them, like you said up here, I want to be able to find it, right? That's a version of harassment, right? He's got my number blocked, but I still call him with Google Voice, leaving very angry voice messages and threatening him and the girls. He's not even answering your call. And you're leaving threatening voice messages. That is literally the definition of harassment. So I'm saying this because I can't be your friend with this and tell you what you want to hear. What you're doing is very inappropriate, very inappropriate. I'd be saying that whether you were a girl or a guy. And I get it. You're upset about the situation that happened, and you're upset that you feel manipulated and used by this guy, and you feel like he's taking advantage of your emotions and your feelings. But how you're going about this is very inappropriate. We all go through, heartbreak. And you know what? Even people like me, I'm on the show. Don't think that I don't make mistakes. I take my own L's as well. But what you have to get good at understanding is when you do take an L in life, you just at a certain point have to cut your losses and say, it's okay. I took an L. I'm going to let this be a learning experience, right? For me and in my life, so that I can understand how to not see the same mistake over and over again, right? I think that what's happening to you is as you have invested in this guy, because I'm not doubting that you invested in him, and I'm not doubting that you wanted the situation to work out. But I think that what happened is as you invested your time and your energy here, and you wanted this to work out, the more obvious it became to you that this wasn't going to work out, the more it made you spiral out of control. And the more you spiraled out of control, the more you began doing to try to gain back some control, instead of realizing that the best decision here is to move forward. Because at a certain point, and that was very long ago, this relationship was, there was no recovery from it. There was no bringing it back. And if you would have just realized that earlier, you could have stopped the spiraling from happening. Because that's exactly what's happened now. You're now so deep in, making it worse that you're constantly trying to recover from making it worse the last time by doing something that makes it even more worse. Right? You went from yelling at him in person where he would even listen to you to now calling him from a blocked number on Google Voice where he won't even answer your calls, and you're leaving angry, threatening messages to him and girls who don't even know you or know of your existence. Now you're at a point where you can't even get a contact from him, and you're watching his Twitch streams to try and get an understanding of what he's doing and why he's doing it and what his relationships are with who. And you're even convinced that he's doing this to get back at you and hope that you're watching it. He is not thinking of you. I'm not saying that because you're a bad person. I'm not saying that because, I want you to feel bad about yourself, but I need to give you some sobering words so that you can pull yourself out of the delusion. Your delusion is running so deep right now that you're actually creating such a crazy narrative that is straying so far from the truth. It's actually becoming very concerning to me. Because the way that you're approaching this situation and the way that you're receiving information about what he's doing is actually quite scary, because it's so far from the truth that it becomes almost strange how you can even logically try and put those two things together. The man has forgotten about you. Not only is he dealing with other things in his life and he's on stream, he's also on stream with another woman. He's not on stream with another woman because he wants you to somehow see it. Trust me, if he wanted to make you jealous, there's plenty of other ways he could do that. He's on the Twitch stream because he enjoys being on the Twitch stream with that woman. And I promise you, anything they were doing before or doing after is about his enjoyment with that woman. It's not about getting back at you. I really hope you've deleted everything out of your phone of him. Now, let's take it a step further for you in your situation, and I really mean this. You're going to delete your Twitch account. You know what? Twitch is a public, you can even access it without an account. You delete Twitch, the app, off your phone. I don't even know what to do here. Don't search his Instagram, block that. Don't search his Snapchat, block that. Can we create an extension or a program in which you can't even type in his name on Google? Because I'm nervous you're going to type in his name on Google and then go to his Twitch page from there. Sweet said, get a flip phone. That's what you need to do. Get you a flip phone. I really mean this. We need to find some solution for you on how we can get you to stop doing this. Get yourself a flip phone that you can't even access the internet properly to watch his Twitch stream from your phone. You have an iPad, you're going to go ahead and sell your iPad for now. Okay? You have your computer. Hopefully you don't need one for work or anything like that. We don't need any technology that will allow you to access his Twitch streams. I really mean that. And we need to find you a group of friends that loves you and cares about you that can take you out of the house. No more Twitch for you. And when you step out of the house, we're going to turn off your data. No cellular data for you that you can be browsing the internet. That way, when you leave the house, you have no way of accessing his Twitch stream. Okay? You're not even going to enter the library because I don't want you going anywhere. There are computers that you can watch his Twitch stream there. Okay? We're going to get you. I want you to find some of your girlfriends that you can hang out with, spend some time with. I want you to get out of the house with them. And I want you, when you're out of the house, I want you to take that cellular data and turn it off. Okay? In fact, change your cell phone plan. So your cell phone plan has no data on it. Okay? That way, when you leave the house, you don't even have an option. All right. And then when you leave the house, we want to get you and build you a routine around doing other things than searching up this guy's Twitch channel or, going on his whatever he posts on and seeing what he's doing on a regular basis. I'm really so serious about that. And if you have any clothes at his house, throw them away. Of course, if you have any pictures or videos still left on your computer, laptop, or anything like that, delete them. Delete all your voice messages with him, all your screenshots of your conversation, all of those things. Get rid of them. I'm even going to go a step further. If you have a song in your phone that reminds you of him, delete that. If you watched a movie together that reminds you of him, delete that. Don't watch that. Okay? Any shows you were watching together, stop watching those. Get rid of them. You need a 180-degree change here. It's possible, but you have to be the one that decides that you actually want a change here. Because checking his Twitch stream and assuming and creating some sort of narrative out of watching his Twitch stream is not helping you get to where you want to go. And you don't really want help if you're doing that on a consistent basis. All right. All right, chat. That is that took too much out of me. That's the last question we're going to do for today. For those of you who have any questions for me, whether it be about your relationship or your situationship, and you want me to answer it live on the show, or you want me to answer your private question that you send into me, feel free to do that by going into the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description, and all of those are available to you there, okay? Now, for those of you who are watching me on TikTok, you can follow me on Instagram there. It's just on the top left corner of the screen. My Instagram is Tomisin_Atub. It's also in my description for you guys who are watching on YouTube. I'll be very clear. Those of you who are watching me on TikTok and you are from the USA, TikTok will be banned on the 19th. There's a lot of moving parts, but for the most part, it's going to be banned, okay? And you don't want to make the mistake of not having access to my YouTube or my Discord, that maybe you forget my username and things like that, and you don't know how to access me or access my live streams or any of my videos. So make sure, those of you who love watching me on YouTube, that you're also subscribed to me, not on YouTube, on TikTok, that you're also subscribed to me on YouTube, and you're in our Players Club. Because in our Players Club, I can also send send you guys announcements and notifications about what's going on when we're having shows, if a show is canceled, and, you know, just have chatter. We can stay connected that way. Okay. So make sure those of you watching me on TikTok are also subscribed to me on my YouTube page, which is just my name, Tomisin, on the top right corner of the screen there, Tomisin. Scotty says, can I still watch you from Ireland on TikTok? 100%. I'm Canadian, so it doesn't affect my TikTok. It affects the people who are watching me in USA. Okay. I'm here every weekday, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I won't be here tomorrow, obviously tomorrow's Saturday, but I will be here on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live. And throughout the weekend, I'll be posting both Discords and full videos of what we talked about in the shows today. So keep an eye on that. All right. Until we meet again on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I bid you adieu, arrivederci, au revoir, hasta la vista, sayonara, ciao, salam. Bon voyage, and I'll see you again on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, have a great rest of your weekend. Stay safe. I love you so much. Have a great weekend. All right, don't